Yes, welcome along to our very special Cheltenham preview on Upping The Ante in association with Bet365 with David Jennings, Johnny Dineen, and yes, we have got Gary O'Brien. We've been chipping away, putting money away every week to get Gary O'Brien back after his hugely successful stint last year. And he is here. Gary O'Brien, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dave. Great to be back with you. I don't know how you guys do this every week. Once a year is more than enough for me. No offence.
None taken, Gary. Okay, what we're trying to do today is talk about all 28 races within an hour. That's my mission. Get the job done within an hour. Get you back to whatever else you're doing. We're going to do all 28 races in an hour, starting now. Kick it off with the Supreme Novice Hurdle on Tuesday. And it is always the traditional curtain raiser, Johnny Dineen. We thought it was going to be all about Ballyburn. It is now looking like Ballyburn is not going to run in the Supreme Novice Hurdle. How sick are you?
Actually, look, that's part and parcel of anti-post stuff anyway. You know what I mean? You have to try and guess the races, and if you don't guess the right races, well, you can't back the winner. So, like, when you back a horse for the Supreme and it's favourite for a different race, well, that's factored into its price then. So it's not even favourite to go for the race you're backing for. So you kind of think, you're hoping that things happen like that he goes to the Dublin Racing Festival and wins easy, which he did.
You got the first leg up.
Yeah, but then obviously they've changed their mind, and it looks like they've changed their mind and they're going to divert into the longer race now. But look, it's part and parcel of it.
So with him out, what do you fancy?
I'd be going with Firefox, I think. I think his form from bumpers is good, and I think that he did beat Ballyburn. He's the only horse to beat him in public anyway, isn't he, Ballyburn? So I think he's a very good horse. I didn't think he gave his running in Naas, and at the time Elliot's horses weren't running particularly well at the same time. And to me, he's the one. He's not unbeatable or anything, but he is the one bringing the strongest credentials in here. It is probably an opener. They'll probably bet 7-4 to win the field now. Him, Tully Hill, Mystical Power, they'll all be in the market, strong market contenders. And then you have the likes of the Jericho, the Repine. So it's probably an opener-ish race. But I'd go with Firefox in around the 4 to 1 mark. I'd say he'd be the one I'd be going with.
And you're very much against Tully Hill.
Not very much against him. I told
you've changed your tune.
I think you'd have to respect the stable. You have to respect. I don't particularly fancy.
So you respect the stable, but you don't respect the horse.
I don't particularly fancy the horse, but you do have to respect Mullins in races like this, and the fact that looks like putting Ballyburn in to the other race. He has to have a lot of faith in Tully Hill, maybe more faith than I have, and he should know.
Okay, there we go. It's Firefox for Johnny Dineen. Who is it in the Supreme for Gary O'Brien?
Well, if Ballyburn doesn't run, Dave, I think one of the JP McManus horses might win it. I'd be a fan of Mystical Power. He's been a slow burner, but he really seems to be progressing run to run. Started off in a bumper at Ballinrobe, which was a low-key start. And he looks like he's a horse that's surprising them every time he runs. You know, people knocked it at the time, but to win a maiden hurdle a novice hurdle against previous winners at Galway on his jumps debut, that was a fair effort, and he built on that again at Punchestown last time. I could see him stepping up another big notch here. Jericho de Repine's probably achieved a little bit more than him at this stage, but the worry is the Henderson form, and you've nothing to go by. Obviously, it's the first race of the week. You're going to probably be using the likes of him as a barometer for horses like Sergino and Shishkin later on in the week. So I'd be a little bit reluctant about backing him, but I did like what he did at Doncaster last time. Again, didn't impress everyone that day, but I do prefer Mystical Power. If Ballyburn does run, obviously it changes everything. Tully Hill, I just have my doubts about his jumping, whether it's slick enough to win round there, but he's obviously a very talented horse, but Mystical Power would be top of the list for me. Okay,
so there we go, we're up and running. It's Mystical Power for Gary O'Brien, and it is Firefox for Johnny Dineen. Into Supreme, 40 minutes later, we have the Arkle, and this, Gary O'Brien, is the most open Arkle I can ever remember in my lifetime anyway. You can make cases for any amount of them, and edging towards favouritism now is Calixios, who 2 months ago, if you were told Calixios could go off favourite for the Arkle, you would have laughed at somebody.
Probably so. Obviously, we've lost one or two along the way, Marine Nationale being the main one, the horse who was favourite for a long time. First thing to say is I'd definitely be waiting until I see the final makeup of the field and who rides what here day before. Personally, that's my view anyway, before getting involved. I'd want to see what Paul Townend rides, what Willie Mullins runs, obviously, whether it's going to be Gaelic Warrior, whether Facile Vega will run. Elite Tomp obviously is going to run. And Danny Mullins has got a good tune out of Elite Tomp, but you just wonder if Paul Townend is happy enough to reject him after seeing him win the Grade 1 at Leopardstown last time. Would that just put a little bit of a doubt in your mind about him as well? So look, I'll be honest, I've been a fan of Elite Tomp all the way through. I think he's an underrated horse who maybe hasn't had the credit he deserved. So I'm going to hold fire until the day. If Townend rose in with him, I'd say I'd probably end up backing him. But just if he does choose one of the others, I might have to review things.
Okay, a very tentative vote there from Gary for Elite Tomps. who was a kind of a B team horse for a long time, isn't he, Pertemps?
Yeah, like I think if you had to pick one horse to be placed, that's the one you'd go for, Pertemps. But I just have a suspicion that something will probably beat that. Like he's been to Cheltenham twice, he's run okay twice, but he hasn't won. I didn't realise Calixius has gone favourite. Has he gone favourite?
Well, very close to favourite, yeah.
Yeah, like
you have started a plunge, Johnny.
Yeah, and I'm not on him to make it worse.
Are you not?
No, I'm not. And I wouldn't back him at 4-1 favourite or whatever price. What price is he?
Nah, he's around 5 or 11 at the moment. Yeah,
he's entitled to be every bit of that 5 or 6 to 1. I think he has a good chance. And if I would have the one I would have picked, I thought he would be slightly bigger odds at the same time. He could well be when the time comes too. Like the likes of Pertemps found a 50. They don't set a huge standard. It's a bit like the year that what's that horse of Jared Sullivan's Duke, the
Duke to Geneva.
Geneva won it. Yeah, it looks that kind of a race, and it doesn't look a vintage renewal.
Are you gone off JPR1 because you've on various Up in the Ante shows you've been mentioning?
Yeah, I give him a chance, but he doesn't have the form, hurdle form to back up that he can do this level. Even though I think he's a better chaser and I think he's a very good horse and a good jumper. His back form is not up to what's required to win this race. I wouldn't dismiss him now. I think he'll run well at the same time. I think he could have a chance of being placed. But again, he's a horse that could find 1 or 2 too good. I can't have found a 50 here. I know people fancy that. I wouldn't give that an earthly anyway.
Not an earthly?
No, I give it no chance. None.
No chance?
Don't fancy it at all.
He's a grade 1 winner.
I don't care what he is. I don't care. He's just not up to winning this. I don't think he is anyway. And I know he's form tied in with Pertemps. There's not a lot between them. For that reason, you can't really be fancying Pertemps that much either.
Now, Gary, I think put that in your pipe and smoke it.
No, I think Pertemps is a solid horse, okay, and I think he'll beat Found the 50. But for me, Found the 50 isn't even a strong finisher. You know, the last day he's beaten by Corbett's Cross, worried out of it in Naas last year, and he's worried out of it by Pertemps. He's definitely a length in front of the run.
How did he win at Christmas then?
Because there was Fastel Vega ran atrocious, and the rest of them, there was nothing else in it.
They were nearly getting out of each other's way in the race.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. I'd struggle to see him winning anyway. I'd fancy that to be nowhere in this race. Found the 50.
Not even unplaced, nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like he ran an entry last year, you know where he was as well. Do you know what I mean? You know, so look, he doesn't. He's probably improved over fences and all that, but I just don't think he's that good. Found the 50, and I'd go
with that. Noel, if you're watching,
I'll go with Calixius. But
okay.
It wouldn't be an overly strong vote at the same time.
But your main strong opinion in the race is that Found the 50 will not win.
No, I would be against him solidly, yes.
Solidly, okay. I think we've learned that in the last 30 seconds or so. That is the Arkle. Moving on to the first handicap of the week. It's a race that Ireland haven't won since 2006, Dundura. But we have the favourite this year in the shape of the recently purchased JP McManus owned Meeting of the Waters, Johnny Dineen. Adding to JP McManus's already really strong team for Cheltenham. Bought earlier on in the week. A good buy?
Look, it's a good representative to have in the race. It's favourite at the same time. But like whatever he cost, I don't know what he cost, but look, he probably obviously cost plenty. I don't actually fancy Meeting of the Waters myself, but I don't see but then again you have to be respective of the stable at the same time, and he's 5-1 favourite. I think he's more priced on connections than form. And he went up a good bit for winning the Paddy Power Chase. I didn't think he won like a horse when he won the Paddy Power Chase. Did you say, oh, he'd win? Like he's way better than these. You know what I mean? I just think he won it.
He's well on top on the line.
I thought the best.
He's been nearly 5 lengths.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't think he won by that far now.
Top 4.5 lengths.
Did he win by that much? I thought it was a bit less.
Gary can be the judge.
I thought that he didn't win by that much at all.
Will you give me over 3 lengths, will you?
No, you said 5. Anyway, I'll give you over 5 though, for what you like.
I think it's 4 3/4 lengths or something like that.
Was it? Yeah. Look,
we will see later on.
We'll have a look at that later. But no, I think he's a good solid horse, but I think he's only a chance. That's all. Yeah.
Now you have a good record in this race. You really fancy Court Rambler last year. I think you did fancy Court Rambler even the year before. What do you like this year?
I'd go with maybe Chianti Classico, and I'd fancy it pretty strong when the stable isn't going great. You know what I mean? It's had a good start to the year and have lost form and never really recovered it as such. And again,
big winner last Saturday though in the Grinthorpe. Does he know one? So
yeah, I suppose so. And it's not a stable that's going to have 100 winners a year either. You know what I mean? There is a certain amount of winners they're going to have. So I like Chianti Classic. He's a good solid jumper. And he's a horse with a class as well. I think he's a bit more class than the likes of Meeting of the Waters myself now. He'd be one I'd be going for anyway. David Bass. I like David Bass too.
Okay, there you go. That's Chianti Classico. My first contribution in the Tipping Stakes, sorry. I'm a big fan of Am I Right? And the weather is turning good for Am I Right, who I think is well handicapped. I thought he ran really well in the Paddy Power background. And just have a look at his run at the October meeting at Cheltenham. He tanked through that race. I think he's a well handicapped horse, and I think he's going to go very close. Am I right? What do you like in the Ultima, Gary?
I don't know whether you're right, but does Giovinco run in this?
I see what you did there.
Yeah,
that was very good.
Yeah, he's one of your cliff horses, isn't he?
Am I right?
Yeah,
he's in there about number 7 or 8 on the list. Yeah.
Giovinco, yeah, if he runs in this, last year's winning stable, a novice who still is unexposed. I know they have Apple Away in there as well, but I don't think she probably will get in. She's in the National Hunt Chase as well. Giovinco obviously blew out at Christmas against the LA Francais. Had a lot on his plate that day. Had a confidence booster there in an egg and spoon race the other day. Hard horse for the handicapper to get a handle on, I think. And he's a strong traveller. Could see him kind of just floating into the race from off the pace. Look, nothing against Meeting the Waters, but he's well found in the market, as Johnny said. And the Goffer, yeah, a lot of people have put him up. I'm sure he'll run well. He probably made his move a bit too soon last year, but he's been beaten in plenty of handicaps since then, the Goffer. I don't know whether he has an awful lot up his sleeve. Whereas a horse who's unexposed like Giovinco, I think the best is probably still to come from him, and he might just get the race run to suit. Okay,
so it's Giovinco, it's Chianti Classico, and it's Am I Right? Probably wrong. Moving on to the Champion Hurdle, the 3:30 on Tuesday, and obviously Constitution Hill, as we know by now, is out of the race. But in the race is a Birico Lord, who is a late supplementary entry for JP McManus and Nicky Henderson. Any chance whatsoever a Birico Lord?
I think he does have a chance.
Oh, yeah. Gary O'Brien.
He's won 2 of the most competitive handicap hurdles of the season already. The way he won the Betfair Hurdle at Newby, the Bonneville rode him like an absolute certainty that day. He thought, obviously went out there thinking this cannot get beat, because he gave the Dan Skelton horse plenty of rope. He was the only one able to pick him up, and he never looked worried at any stage that he was going to get him either. So he's obviously won that with plenty up his sleeve. You'd feel sorry for any lad now that's backed him for the county hurdle at a nice price, because they must have thought he was a certainty for that if they're happy to supplement him for this. But you've got a precedent here. There's been McManus horses in the past. Synchronised won a Gold Cup after coming up the handicap ranks, won the Welsh National.
Epatante, of course.
Epatante, Carlingford Lock, another horse that came up through handicaps, won a stack of Grade 1s later on in his career. Now I know they're chasers, but there is a bit of a precedent there. He's on an upward curve. I definitely think he has a chance.
He can't win it though, can he?
Probably not, but I mean, why have they supplemented him? These aren't idiots, these people, you know what I mean? They obviously think that he's going to be thereabouts. State Man, is going to be very hard to beat. In all probability, he will win, but I think Birico Lord, assuming he runs up to scratch, and if you see Jericho the Repine run well in the first, you'll feel maybe a little bit more confident then, but if he runs up to scratch and runs up to the sort of level he's been running to, I do think he'll be definitely in the frame, pushing for a place anyway.
So obviously we've got Stateman, your odds-on favourite. Irish Point is very likely to run in this race, and obviously a Birico Lord has been supplemented. Would you be shocked if a Birico Lord didn't finish in the first 3?
Look, I probably wouldn't go that far shocked if he finished.
We'll go surprise. We'll
10
go
or 12 to 1 shot, Dave, isn't
yeah.
he? You're not going to be shot fall down if he doesn't finish in the first 3, but he's coming into the race on a real roll. Just a slight worry about the stable form. If that wasn't at the back of my mind, I'd be pretty confident he would be in the 3 anyway. And yeah, I think he can get involved.
Birico Lord, is that a bit of nonsense there, or what do you think?
No, look, he's a handicapper coming in against grade 1 horses. There is a big gap between the handicappers, and not some of them can make the step up.
He's made a good case now, in fairness.
A lot of them, yeah. Look, I mean, if you're looking for something to beat the favourite, he's a horse with a bit of pace anyway. Do you know what I mean? And he did win that Betfair Hurdle easily at the same time. You'd respect the fact that they supplemented for 18,000 and took him out of a race that he could possibly win. I could not go against Stateman at the same time. I just think that those really top grade 1 horses, which he is, are on a different planet to those handicappers that are coming up there. They have a lot in the hand of them, I think. They're different types of races as well. And okay, maybe a Birico Lord has a place chance. There are a lot of horses to be ridden for a place in this race too. Him included, maybe. I don't really know. Irish Point probably won't. He'd be ridden to take him on, won't he, I'd say. I think the favourite is pretty bomb-proof, to be honest.
Will you back Stateman?
More than likely, yeah.
Okay.
More than likely. Of all the skinny ones at the meeting, that is the one I just think,
game over.
I do. I think he's going, what price will it be 4 to 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 4 to 9 is like you could go to get a loan off the bank and give it back in 10 minutes, you get 44% interest. You know?
There you go, that is the Champion Hurdle. Stateman for Johnny. While Gary thinks Stateman is also the most likely winner, he is giving a shout out to the supplemented Birico Lord. Moving on to the Close Brothers Mares Hurdle, And it's all one-way traffic, isn't it, Johnny Dineen? Lossiemouth?
Yeah, look, I think Lossiemouth gets the trip, it wins. There is most people that are anyway connected to the horse seem to that's not even an issue. I probably suspect that it's not an issue either. I couldn't oppose it anyway. Would I have rated in the same kind of figure-wise, camp-wise as odd betting odds on as Statement? No, I wouldn't.
No,
I wouldn't. No.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far now. I do think it'll win, and I may not even back it, but I do respect it as a 4-7, that kind of stuff. It is short enough at the same time, but it should win, and it's a mare too, and mares don't always give their best. But look, I think
it's a mare.
Yeah, well, Statement to me is absolutely bomb-proof. Or Lossiemouth, there is just a small doubt. That's all.
Okay, small doubt. Can we get this Lossiemouth beaten potentially, Gary?
I wouldn't have thought so, David. Unless it turned into a slog, then maybe 2.5 miles. Say if it was on heavy ground, then that might just be at the back of your mind. But she looks like she has a class edge. Ashrow Diamond, in fairness, looks like she's got a class edge over the rest of them. But just for argument's sake, if it did turn up pretty testing, there is a mare of Henry de Bromhead's, Lantry Lady, that won the Red Mills at Gore. I mean, she's only run twice. She could easily maybe have a bit more to give, and she looks like one that really relishes testing ground. So if it did happen to turn up that way, probably won't happen now, but if it did, she'd be maybe one to have a look at for a place. But I couldn't oppose the favourite.
Okay, Langtree Lady, one to look out for at a decent price for Gary and the Mare's Hurdle. On to another handicap. It's the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle, and it's a bit all over the place at the top of the market at the moment. We don't really know what the story is with Lark in the morning, who has threatened to run a couple of times but hasn't showed up yet. Always an open race, Gary. Have you found the keys to the kingdom in the Boodles?
Can't remember backing too many winners in the last few years anyway.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I'm still living off Aramax, yeah.
Yeah, I know you fancy one this year as well. Look, I wouldn't have a particularly strong view on this one. There's a lot of them are kind of hard horses to get a handle on. A lot of them running in handicaps for the first time. If you ask me to pin my colours to the mast of one of them, it'd probably be a horse called Nara, trained by Henry de Bromhead, who ran in the race at Naas, that's thrown up quite a few winners of this. Aramax, the horse you were talking about, was one of them. Brazil was another. But last year, Jazzy Matty, I think, only finished 4th in the Naas race, came on and won this. This filly was 4th in the Naas race, and it was her last run to qualify for a mark as well. I don't know whether it was necessarily a priority, put it that way. I'd say this has been the target from a long way off. Looks to have been put in on a fair enough mark on the back of that. So if I was going to go one way or the other, it'd be Nara. Okay, Nara. You can add Band of Outlaws to that list as well from that race at Naas. Johnny, the Boodles, I know this is not your cup of tea now, right? But for the purpose of the show, have you found nothing for us?
I like Melantino. I like him pretty well, actually, because I normally wouldn't even have an opinion in the Boodles, to be honest. But
dropped £10.
Yeah, like he's running off 1.26 here, and like he did run against Sergino, and I think his form. Like there is a strong suspicion that he wants further at the same time, and I'd say soft ground is pretty important too. Whether the ground be quite soft enough for, but I'd say he's a goodish horse, but. Like the Boodles or whatever they like to call it, Fred Winter is always a skirmish of a race, isn't it? Like there's horses everywhere, and there's any kind of there has been some real funny results in this over the years. I
thought you've had many gems on Upping The Ante through the season, but I thought one of your best ones, Johnny, was when you said that you wouldn't even be able to pick the winner of the Boodles as they're coming down to the last.
You wouldn't either. No. It's a bit like the Stewards Cup and them kind of races, isn't it? It's like there's horses everywhere coming. You know, okay, maybe Gaelic Warrior and Brazil fought it up, but invariably it's 3 or 4 jumping the last together. Even the year Aramax won, it was a young fella at the last, wasn't there, in that race?
He won easy, no.
Well, are you sure?
Yeah, well, he won easy, no.
But there was a horse fella at the last, wasn't there?
There could have been,
yeah. I think so. There was, definitely. I think there was in here. But look, Melantino is bringing different level of form in here, Sergino form, but he's by Milan, obviously, and he's a national hunt bred horse, and I'd say this race more suitable to a flat type of horse, to be honest. So he could get outpaced, but I do expect him to be in the first 3 or 4. I don't normally back horses each way, but I'd consider backing that each way.
Okay, and it is in Dowie for me, who I think might have a class edge on these. I was really impressed with him at Naas, and I know he's off 134, but I think he could be a graded horse. So fingers crossed for Indawi in the Boodles. And the closer on Tuesday at 5:30, it is a National Hunt Chase, and it sees Corbett's Cross taking on Embassy Gardens and Salvatore Ziggy. Take it away, Johnny Dineen.
Corbett's Cross is the one to beat, I think, if he does things right. That's a bit of an if. He did duck out here last year, so it's not really plain sailing for him. He must get the trip too. That's another thing. I suppose they all have to get the trip, bar maybe. I'd say there's nothing here has been over 3 miles and 6. Salvador Ziggy's been...
The Bradstock horse, maybe, did that win an extra over a marathon trip?
Oh, did it? Yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose there's nothing they can win. It was over the trip anyway, or the fancied ones, you know what I mean, whatever. Corbett's Cross, like for a horse that could beat found the 50 over 2 miles. Now he's expected to get nearly 4 miles. You know what I mean? So it's not a given that he'll get the trip. He's a horse with a lot of class. And like at the start of the year, fellas were saying he'd be going for the Turners and he'd be going for, the
Brown Advisory, that was me.
Whatever. So he has to get the trip here. I think he'll win, but I think he's getting to the price where he's no value anymore at the same time. Actually, the front two in the market aren't any value either.
Is there anything else in it though?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a hole in Embassy Gardens myself now. I think he's a lovely horse when he's getting the little lobbing along. But I think when it comes to a real crunch, which he should do in a race
when
like this.
When he can't lob, yeah.
Yeah, I think he will maybe check out myself. I'll go with Embassy Gardens, but
no,
I won't fall down. Or not start Corbett's Cross, I should say. I wouldn't fall down if he didn't win at the same time.
Okay, so it's Corbett's Cross for Johnny. Tentative enough for Corbett's Cross. I'm much stronger on him. I think he's different class. Gary?
I'd be confident about Corbett's Cross as well, Dave, yeah. The trip maybe would be a slight concern, but as Johnny said, they had plenty of options for the horse. They could have run him over shorter if they wanted, and he got 3 miles well enough under a hold-up ride at Leopardstown at Christmas. I'd imagine coming away that day, even though they got beaten, at least that box was ticked that he stays 3 miles well, they know now. The opposition, Embassy Gardens, I mean, his overall level of form, hurdles, he wouldn't have been as good a hurdler as Corbett's Cross, and I think Corbett's Cross, the Beginner's Chase he won, was a very strong race, for example. He's got grade 1 form. He's achieved a little bit more over fences as well, and he did blow out at Cheltenham last year, Embassy Gardens, in the Albert Bartlett novice hurdle. So I definitely prefer Corbett's Cross to the top two. I know people have put Salvador Ziggy up, but I find it hard to have much faith in him. He did burst a blood vessel when he ran America last time. Once a horse does that, just always in the back of your mind that it might happen again. So I'd say he might fall a little bit short of Corbett's Cross class-wise anyway. So not much of a price, but definitely Corbett's Cross for me.
So it's the first full house of the preview. It is 3 votes for Corbett's Cross. That is day one. Before we go, a play and lay of the day. The one horse you really fancy on Tuesday and the one horse you're against. Gary O'Brien, your play of the day is?
The play of the day, if Ballyburn doesn't run in the first, would be Mystical Power. If he did pitch up there, I'd probably go with Corbett's Cross.
And your lay of the day?
The lay of the day, biggest price to be laying a horse, but Lark in the morning, probably take him on in the Boodles.
Okay, Johnny, play of the day?
Yeah, I'll chance Milantino each way maybe.
In the Boodles?
Yeah.
Is your best bet on Tuesday?
Well, I think it's
you've changed.
I can't put up Lassie Mountain.
You're not the man I used to know.
And I can't put up Statement, they're just too short. So I do think he'll be on the premises, Milantino, at the same time. And 2 horses I give no chance to the first day are Found the 50 is one and Salvador Ziggy is the other.
No chance.
I would give them a prayer. No, none of them. I couldn't see them being involved. So, but to be absolutely certain I won't pick a winner as a lady, I'll go with Found the 50.
Okay, I think reading between the lines, Johnny doesn't fancy Found the 50, and my play of the day at a decent price would be in Dowie in the Boodles, and I will be very much against Embassy Gardens in the National Hunt Chase, and that is day one of the Cheltenham Festival. Stop the clock. And start the clock. Kick it off on Wednesday with the Gallagher Novices Hurdle. Yes, the Gallagher Novice Hurdle, rechristened earlier on this week. And it looks like this is now the destination for Ballyburn, Gary O'Brien.
It does. And look, he's a very, very hard horse to oppose, Dave. I'd be in no rush to oppose him anyway. And the fact if he does come here, it might well send one or two of the dangers elsewhere. Slade Steele, I think his connections have talked about being keen to avoid Ballyburn, even though if you took the opposition out of it and just kind of picked out the race to suit the horse, I'd say this might be a more suitable race for Slade Steele. But obviously Ballyburn beat him pretty handily at Leopardstown, so you can see exactly where they're coming from. Look, he won over 2.5 with his mouth open at Leopardstown at Christmas. He wasn't exactly stopping at the finish that day. He ran through the line like an exocet missile almost. He could have gone round again, I'd say. Even if you wanted something to be maybe back without the favourite, Predator's Gold's a horse I think could run well here. Just maybe stretched him a little bit last time in the 2-6 race at the Dublin Racing Festival. His price has kind of contracted a little bit of late. Maybe if Ballyburn does come along here, it could edge back out a little bit again. I don't know. I thought he had a good each way chance, but Ballyburn looks to be a different level to most of these.
Johnny, obviously you've done your dough potentially in the Supreme. Do you try and make up your dough in the Gallagher?
I know. I think at the price he is now, I'm after missing the boat. I mean, I do think he'll win, but he's going to be sharp priced in this race. He's unopposable. I mean, would you back something? I'm not a real fan of backing horse without the favourite, because you kind of get the forecast up. It's not that easy to do it at times. And then you have horses ridden for second, and you have other horses take them on, and that's going to be the crux here. Whether you back a horse that's going to be ridden to be second, or maybe a horse that's maybe a lot of horses, the second best horses don't always finish second in races like this. That's the problem. I was liking Predator's Goal, the one Gary mentioned, but that was with Ballyburn out. Now it's a totally different new dynamic to the race, and I'd have to have another major rethink now. I'm guessing I'd be abstaining now from this one, I'd imagine.
Okay, Johnny's abstaining, but it is Ballyburn for both. Moving on to the Brown Advisory, and this is another banker for many people, is Factifile against Paul Nicholls' Big Hope, Stay Away Faye, throw in Monty Star, and now Broadway Boy. Means it might just be a trickier assignment now for Factifile. I know you're a massive Stay Away Faye fan, Johnny.
Yeah. Look, I do think the way people are talking about Factifile, the people that should know, it's very hard to go against them. Like these people are dealing with top class horses every day of the week, and when they're coming out singing from the rooftops about one, you can't really go against it, I don't think. Even though I don't personally think he hasn't got the form to make him quite as short as he is, and people are saying he was fierce and impressive. I don't think Gaelic Warrior showed up at all in that race anyway. That could not be his form anyway, durng. Like, he fell out over the last drunk in that race, out over his head. He didn't know where he was. So he couldn't, like, there's no way Factifile is that much better than Gaelic Warrior. Look, the way they're talking, he'll win. So for that reason, I can't oppose him. I'm going to.
You do listen to your ears, like you're.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't ignore that kind of stuff. I don't think anyway. Like fellas will be, they're supposed to have done times. I'm not interested in what time he did in a 2 horse, in a 1 horse race, basically. But strictly on the form, he isn't entitled to be as short as he is. But he has a big reputation, and it's coming from the right people. I'm not a fan of Stay Away Faye. No, I think he'll struggle here. And if I was having a bet here, and I probably will, and I know I said I don't like backing horses without the favourite, but there's only going to be about 5 or 6 in this, I'd go with Monty Star strongly. I'd go with him to beat Stay Away Faye. Because he won't be ridden up, he'll be ridden maybe 3 or 4 down, or he won't be ridden, where Stay Away Faye, like Broadway Boy has no chance in this race, none whatsoever, has he, like?
No.
And the fact that he might make the running, people are saying that'll help Stay Away Faye, but even if he does make the running for them, Stay Away Faye at some stage will have to be committed anyway to go for home. And like, I don't know, if Giovinco can be doing half speed against you, going to the last and Sandown, you can't be that good in my opinion anyway. You just can't. And even the day he ran in Exeter, Grey Dawning and that other horse of the Changing Men were going better than him up.
He still won.
He did, because they
and he still won in Sandown. He
He
still won the Albert Bartlett.
Yeah, I know.
He's still winning these
but,
races.
But he was exposed enough in that race at the Cotswold Chase and Stadium. I know it's an open race, an open chase, out in open company, but he didn't finish in front of much at the same time, did he? Like, no. He finished 3rd of 4, didn't he? Like, I know High Senior, something happened to his tack or something. Like, I thought he only ran ordinary in that race. I just think he's as slow as a boat, Stay Away Faye, and I think he'll struggle against good horses here. And I think I would be going Monty Star without the favourite for a strong bet, actually.
Okay, follow that, Gary. Stay Away Faye, yeah.
I
think he's got a big chance, Stay Away Faye.
Well, the more of a test it is, the more it's going to suit him, isn't it? But I mean, he does lack a gear. It does look that way. You know, look, smashing horse, you love to own him, obviously, but we're trying to pinpoint winners here. I don't think he'll win personally. The favourite, like it would remind you of the vibes from the camp about Impere Pass last year, wouldn't it? I mean, the difference is he's a much shorter price. Like Impere Pass was about a 2-1, 9-4 shot. This is
didn't even go off favourite.
Yeah, this is odds on now. So I fully understand where Johnny's coming from. I wouldn't be backing him at the price he is now, to be honest. But it does look as though he's held in very high regard, and he's obviously gone down the Florida Pearl route, straight over fences. It all adds up to potentially a very, very smart horse indeed. If Grey Dawning did run here, which looks unlikely now, I thought he would be clear second best. But a bit like Slade Steele, what we were talking about with Ballyburn, he looks like he might defect to the Turners now because of Factifile. So that being the case, I'd struggle to maybe pick between the others. Look, Factifile, most likely winner, but I'd happily sit this one out. Okay,
so it's 2 votes for Factifile. Moving on to the first handicap of the day. It is the Coral Cup. It's probably my favourite handicap of the whole meeting. I love the Coral Cup because you get classy horses, you get novices, you get kind of battle-hardened handicappers in there. It is usually a very good race, Gary. Have you plucked anything out of the field at this stage?
Doddy the Great was the horse I settled on. Nicky Henderson's. Again, just to put the caveat in there, you want to see how the Henderson horses run in the early races before maybe steaming into one of theirs. But a good run in the Betfair Hurdle last time, probably a little bit too far back the way the race played out. Looks as though he'll appreciate, I think, stepping back up in distance again. I think he's only had one go over in and around 2.5 miles, obviously at a much lower level, but he won that day. Could have a fair bit more to give, I'd say, at the longer trip. So I thought he'd run well. Look, there's plenty you can give a chance to in it, but he'd be the one I'd be leaning towards.
Doddy the Great for Gary, Johnny?
Yeah, look, I'd say Henderson has a few chances in this race. That's one. I think lucky places in this race, is he? And there's no ordinary Joe in this.
Could potentially go for this, or the Martin Pipe.
I'd say he's a good hand in this race. But look, the Coral Cup is a murder race too, isn't it? My own personal opinion is that the handicap hurdles are way more difficult to decipher than handicap chases at Cheltenham. I'd much myself anyway would prefer having a rattle off a handicap chase than a handicap hurdle. There's so much dead wood in the handicap chasers, excuse me, that there isn't as many dead woods or whatever you like to call them in the handicap hurdles. There's a lot of unexposed horses in them, and Dottie the Great has a good chance, definitely. If you force me up against the wall, that's the one I'd pick myself.
Okay, I won't now.
Right, okay.
I won't.
Yeah.
I won't.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm forcing you, and it's Dottie the Great.
I will go with Dottie the Great.
Okay, is there harmony here on Wednesday, boys? That is the Coral Cup. Moving on to the big one, it's the Queen Mother Champion Chase, and it is El Fabiolo against John Bon once again, with a rejuvenated Edward Stone in there, Johnny Dineen. Now, a lot of people are saying that El Fabiolo is the best horse running at the Cheltenham Festival this year. Do you agree?
Oh, he's a horse with an immense amount of talent anyway, yeah, and he is becoming the more the complete article every time he runs. He looks less likely to make a mistake, even though when you do look at him, you always have a suspicion that it mightn't be a million miles away that he could hit one or make maybe a race-ending mistake. Edward Stone, I'd say, will be ridden forcibly here. I think he'll have to be. He may not make the running from start to finish, but I'd imagine he'll be in front early in the race. John Bon will be second. Your man will be probably behind them. So
you don't like that.
Well, what I'm saying is there's no margin for error when the two horses in front of you are jumping well, and I expect them to be jumping well. So he has to do everything right. And at 6 or 7 to 4 on, he'd be one I'd leave win at the same time. Even though I do expect him to win, and I wouldn't oppose him, he's going to have to pass the other two horses, and there is zero margin for error in a race like this. If you hit one really, really hard, you probably get beat here. It's not as if he has an eternity in hand. I think he has a bit in hand, but not. He hasn't got 20 lengths in hand that he can be rooting fence after fence anyway, not a hope. So I think he'll win, but I think I'll be keeping my money in my pocket at the same time.
Okay, Gary?
I kind of broadly agree with Johnny. I couldn't go against El Fabiolo, but would you go steaming into him at odds on? Probably not. That said, as far as prep races go, John Bon's was a disaster, as everybody saw at Cheltenham last time. He had a horrid hard race, and I don't know, I've gone pretty cold on him on the back. I wouldn't have fancied him to beat El Fabiolo anyway. Edward Stone was very good at Newbury when they blazed him away from the front, and they'll have to ride him handily again. Chances are he won't be allowed to go off and do what he did at Newbury. There'll be something there to take him on this time around. But if he can jump as well as he did there, that will maybe just put it up to the likes of John Bon and El Fabiolo. Just at the back of your mind is the fact that Edward Stone absolutely blew out at this meeting last year, and I don't think he'd want the ground.
That's an understatement. He absolutely
he ran a shocker,
blew out.
And I don't think he'd want the ground to be very soft either. So again, it's another one I think will maybe crystallise a bit closer to the day. I wouldn't fancy John Bon at all personally. The favourite should win, but hopefully it'll be an interesting race to watch at least.
So that's the Champion Chase done and dusted. Now it's a cross country, and Johnny Dineen, it's not a race that I would have thought you would have been a fan of over the years, but one of your strongest fancies of the week runs here. Yeah,
it's not the strongest fancy of the week though. It was a fair price at 92 or 4 to 1 minute in though, but I'm not so sure I'd be tearing into it at 7 to 4, 2 to 1. Look, it's a race probably where the class horses will probably dominate as they did last year. Galvin put himself back in the running now. He was a horse that wasn't rating all the year, but he did put himself back in. That was a reasonable effort.
Working very well
in
apparently,
Navan. Yeah. But what's going to be a big issue for Galvin is that apparently the inside track is a mudbat, and that's not going to help him. And I wouldn't be raving about Manel Indo on really heavy ground either. It'd probably suit Delta Work more than anything. And at the prices they're going now, I'd nearly be swinging towards Delta Work, to be honest.
You turn coach.
Yeah, look, if they bet like at the way they are now, 2 to 1 and 7 to 2, I'd be against Galvin now if the ground is as bad as they're saying it is inside in the middle. Because I know Davy Russell rode it, was it last year? Yeah. And he said that he was grand belting around the inside, but when he came out onto the open track, when it was a lot softer, the tyres started spinning. So I would say that if he's going to be spinning for a lot longer this year now inside, you know what I mean? Yeah. It could even be a reversal of last year. It could be softer inside and better ground outside. Maybe that what they do inside doesn't make any difference. It's the last 3 or 4. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But look, I'd say...
So who are you with then? I'm a bit confused now. So it was Manel Indo.
It was.
Then it was Delta Work, but it could be Galvin.
No, it won't be Galvin. So it won't be. It's between. I think it's between Manel Indo and Delta Work. Price be price sensitive in a race like this. Like, could you back Manila Indo at 6-4 or 7-4?
A lot of people are.
I find it hard to back him at 6. I think he's a great chance. But Delta Work has more experience in the track, and at the prices, I think I'd go him right now.
Okay, so he's Delta Work. He's tipped up Manila Indo on the show at 9-2, and now he's with Delta Work. Gary?
I think the favourite's very skinny now. I'd agree with Johnny Manila Indo. Yeah, he's got his chance, but 6-4, 7-4 in a race like that wouldn't appeal to me. Galvin was the one I was liking in the run-up to the race. Thought it was a lovely prep run at Navan over hurdles last time. But the worry would be the ground. So again, another one that you should maybe have a better handle on closer to the time in terms of how the conditions are going to shape up. Delta Work, he's just a bit hit and miss these days. I get the impression he's not the easiest of horses to train. So look, again, it's a race I'd be a little bit watery about as things stand. Other than if you were forcing me to get involved, I'd probably take on the favourite at the price.
Okay, so you're taking on Manila Indo. So moving on to the Grand Annual. It's the penultimate race on Wednesday, and they're going to go lickety-split down to the first couple of fences. And I actually studied this race last night, Johnny. Okay. I spent a bit of time on it, and I think I found one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I found one. I thought at 16-1 was a little bit of value. It's a horse that you've mentioned on the show a couple of times, but I went back to his run in October, and I said that run in October could be our Grand Annual winner. It is In Excelsis Deo for Harry Fry.
Yeah, look, he should have won the last day in Sandown. Anyway, he fell at the last, and he probably given a bit too much to do against Madara.
Yeah, he's just crying out for an end-to-end gallop, and I think that's going to really suit him, the Grand Annual. Anyway, what do you like? Nobody cares what I
No, he has a chance, yeah, he has a chance. It's obviously an open race. The Grand Annual is always an open race. I'd be going for just chance to my arm with Pat Theroux, hoping that he may just hit it right on the day, and maybe he needs to jump better than he did in Leopardstown, because he didn't jump well there. That kind of jumping will have him out of the race after 4 fences anyway here. So he might just hit it the day like that where he does everything right. He's a price that you can take a chance with. I wouldn't even back him each way. I actually think he may win the race or blow out completely. I wouldn't be shocked if he's pulled up in the race, but if he did get into a rhythm, and Cromwell is a dangerous animal at this meeting, isn't he? He can get
in a good way, just to clarify.
Yeah. But him and a few other trainers as well, the likes of the Brahma, Cromwell, I think them kind of fellas can get horses to do things, special things on one given day anyway, at the very least. A bit like Vanillier here years ago, you couldn't really fancy him at the Albert Bartlett. He won like, it was like Dawn Run, didn't he? Like, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'll go with Pat Theroux. And another thing that's probably going to be a help is that he had the original favourite, My Mate Mozzie, and is going to run that in the Arkle instead. So he must have some bit of faith in Pat Theroux at the same time.
Yeah, I've done a couple of previews with Keith Donoghue, and he's very sweet in Pat Theroux. Yeah, I think he's got a great chance.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, there you go. That's Pat Theroux for Johnny, In Excelsis Deo for me. Who is it for Gary O'Brien in the Grand Annual?
I like a couple of horses in it, Dave. Two horses actually quite similar names. Madara, I think, is a solid horse. If he runs here, he was good at the Dublin Racing Festival last time. Seems to be kind of coming along run to run. Obviously, the revised mark will make life a little bit tougher for him. But the one I'd be most fancying is last year's winner, Muscada, who was in the mix, I think, for the Mayor's Chase until a run at Naas last time. Yeah, ultimately, she was a bit disappointing that day, but they rode her a bit differently, let her stride along in front. She jumped really well for maybe the first half of the race, and her jumping just fell apart a little bit after that. Wasn't knocked around with her chance had gone. She's only £8 higher than when she won last year. She beat Dino Blue last year. Now, Dino Blue obviously made a couple of bad mistakes late on, but she beat the rest of them, I think, by 9 odd lengths. So an £8 rise for winning the Grand Annual by 9 lengths if you take Dino Blue out of it, who's not going to be in the field this time around. I don't think that's prohibitive. San Ra looks as though he's been laid out for it, but the last run I just thought was a bit off-putting. He jumped deplorably that day at Leopardstown, albeit in better company. So I'd be quite keen on Muscada here to win it again.
Muscada to do back-to-back for Gary O'Brien. And the final race on Wednesday is the Weatherby's Champion Bumper. And Gordon Elliott seems to hold the key, Gary. He's got Romeo Coolio, he's got Jalan the Dares, and he's got the Yellow Clay. Jalan the Dares is his favourite, but the camp seem to really like Romeo Coolio.
Yeah, Romeo Coolio was big talking horse all season, and I don't think the camp made any secret of the fact that they thought he was probably their best bumper horse, but you couldn't say he was anyway impressive the day he won at Ferrias. Now, it sounded like it was a rush job to get him ready for that race because they wanted to get him out.
The form has actually worked out okay. The runner-up won next time. And
I don't know. I think he's just priced up as though he won by 15 lengths on the bridle, though, that day. You know what I mean? I think other horses impressed more. The Simon Muir and Isaac Swade horse of Willie's that
Jasmine
DeVoe that won in Naas. That visually, that was probably the most eye-catching. Jalan the Dairies is more like a workman-like horse, but those type of horses can win the bumper at Cheltenham. One who I liked, and I was very interested to hear Ruby tipping him up the other day as well. A horse called Argento Boy that won at Ferry has won a bumper under Jody Townend. He looked a real kind of raw horse that day, but it sounds as though the way Ruby was talking about him the other day is that he's really sharpened up with that run behind him. So I was going to have a few quid on something at this stage. I think he's still around about 14 to 1 as we're doing this. He's the one I'd be maybe leaning towards.
That's why we get Gary O'Brien in for the show.
I can tell you what Ruby Walsh fancies.
Argento Boy, yeah. It's not for Gary at all. It's to hear what Ruby fancies, and it's a bit cheaper. What do you like in the bumper, Johnny?
I think it's a very, very open race, and probably the three, to me, the three best bumper horses in the country aren't even in it. You know what I mean?
Great start, Johnny.
Yeah,
Thanks.
the likes of the horse, was it Gold in the Mountains or whatever he's called, the horse that won in Stephen's Day. The horse of Jerobo and Mashin, or whatever he's called, Jerobo Mashin, Machine or whatever he's called.
Yeah.
And I suppose
William Money.
They're probably the three horses that probably impressed me most, and none of them here. So, like, you're dealing with horses that have only one run and two runs, and maybe only some one and some of them two, and it's very hard to put the form together. I think it is anyway. And then your fellas are saying, like, I think Jack Kennedy is going to ride the Yellow Clay.
I don't think he will.
Do you not think so?
No, I don't think so.
Right. Okay. So no, just a fella said that to me.
Well, Gordon had said it in his pre-festival tour that he wouldn't be surprised if Jack rides the Yellow Clay, but I think he'll ride one of the other two.
Okay, yeah. Look, apparently Romeo Cooley is the best workhorse of the three, and the other ones are the better horses. I don't even know. Mullins will have 7 or 8, maybe 9 runners. There's 9 and 3, 12. There's 12 out of 20. So. And like, geez, I don't know. Like, I don't know how any man could have betted this anyway.
Willie's won this with horses that weren't even meant to be in Cheltenham.
Yeah, exactly. And
leave it alone, Johnny. Yeah.
But you've had like the likes of Harry Molly, and you've like the Q card. I think Briar Hill or someone is 25 to 1. There has been big price horses win this race, and it's usually a bookie's race. I think, like, all the non-handicaps at the meet, this is by far the way the worst. If
I put you up against the wall, Johnny,
I'd go with Cantico.
But
I wouldn't be surprised if he won in the first 10 either. You know what I mean? So but that's the kind of race it is.
Okay, that is day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival. It's play and lay time. Johnny, your play of the day, your strongest fancy on Wednesday?
I'll go with Monty Star without the favourite.
In a market you hate doing.
Yeah, I'm not bad about it, but I do have a feeling that Stay Away Fair will try and beat the favourite, and it could set up for something. And I definitely think Monty Star is the best of the rest anyway. Okay,
Monty Star without Factify and the Brown Advisory, and your lay of the day. Have you another found a 50 for us on Wednesday?
1 second now, I'm just trying to run through the races again.
No, we'll go to Gary then for your play of the day, Gary.
Absolutely, yeah.
Play of the day would be Muscada in the Grand Annual. I think she's got a great chance.
And the one you're against?
And the one against, purely on price grounds, also Henry de Brom at Manila Indo.
Manila Indo. And Johnny, your lay of the day?
I'll go with that horse of T-Shannon, the Nichols horse.
Yeah, in the bumper,
I struggle to see that winning now myself.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to chance Jalan Dadares in the bumper. I think he's got a great attitude. I just think he could potentially be a very, very good horse, Jalan Dadares, and he's going to make a smashing chaser in time. And I'm against Galvin in the cross country. Gary, I know like him.
I'm doting. I'd take out T-Shannon. Stay Away Faye. I forgot about him. He won me.
How could you forget about him?
Exactly,
all you think about in life is Stay Away Faye.
Yeah, same owner, same colour, same trainer, but different horse. That's all. Yeah.
Stay Away Faye is Johnny's lay of the day on Wednesday, and that is day 2 done and dusted. Stop the clock. So welcome back to our Cheltenham Festival preview, and we've moved on to day 3. It's quick, isn't it? Short, it's snappy, it's winners. That's what you want. Moving on to day 3 and the opening race on day 3 on Thursday at 1:30. It is the Turner's Novices Chase, which Gary O'Brien could actually go to England. What's going on there?
I think they will have the odd winner at this year's Cheltenham Festival, believe it or not. I mean, you were telling me, is it the first day they've only got 3 horses less than 10 to 1 or something?
Unbelievably, yeah. Only 3 horses, single figure price on Tuesday. That's incredible stuff.
I think you're right, they will win this. They've got 3 great chances. If Grey Destiny runs here...
Dawning it.
Beg your pardon, Grey Dawning. He's probably the horse they'll have to beat. Ginny's Destiny.
Gary O'Brien make mistakes?
Ginny's Destiny. Stop. Ginny's Destiny, Grey Dawning. I was obviously transposing those two. Grey Dawning, I think, is the one to beat if he does come here. Very, very likeable horse. Tremendously impressive, I thought, at Warwick. I know people were saying he might have been flattered by the way the race was run that day. I don't buy that at all. I thought he won extremely authoritatively. Ginny's Destiny is a solid horse, very much in the stage star mould. You just wonder whether he might be vulnerable to maybe something a little bit classier. That's no disrespect to him. And Iroko is the other one. He's the wild card, if you like. He's only won once over fences. Again, it was at Warwick, which is a good jumping test for a novice. To win there the way he did first time out, he's obviously a very smart horse. He won at the meeting last year. Yeah, it's going to be very hard for him to come back and win a Grade 1 after an interrupted campaign. But they sound like the vibes are pretty positive about him of late, just reading the comments. So I'm definitely not ruling him out either. Home win looks a banker if Grey Dawning does run here, and they've got those 3 going for them. Grey Dawning just about maybe number 1.
Johnny, are England going to win a race?
Yeah,
It's going to be the first of the week.
They have a great chance, surely. Facile Vegas is about the only way that they can be stopped there with a toss.
Or Gaelic Warrior.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I'm not a fan of Gaelic Warrior, especially going the wrong way around anyway. And I think he has to come back a long way from that run the last day anyway. But maybe, like the likes of Mullins can do that, maybe get them horses back. But he's coming from the pretty basement position, in my opinion, anyway. I'd be like Gary. I like Grey Dawning. I think he's a good horse, and he definitely would have beat Jennings Destiny back there in November. And look, he's a horse. You said there's a big say in the 3 mile race as well, but he's diverted in here. Iroko won in Warwick, won easy, good jumper and all that kind of stuff, but it's bad prep at the same time. Jennings Destiny is a handicapper, like good jumper. I wouldn't like to give him too much rope at the same time. If he's still hanging around in front of second ass, he could be hard to peg back, handicapper or not, but I have a feeling they'll be on top of him earlier this time. I don't think he'll get the same latitude that he did in other races, and I don't think he's going to be loud boss the race like he was in some of them handicaps. I'd go with Grey Dawning, but I would be afraid of Facile Vegas. He is a Grade 1 horse in against horses that haven't that level of form, and if he did put it together on one day, I could see him maybe beating them all, but the percentage call is probably Grey Dawning.
Okay, it's 3 votes for Grey Dawning. I'm a big fan of Grey Dawning. I think Dan Skelton has made the right move, potentially running the horse in this race. The Pertemps final is the first handicap on Thursday. It's a bit of a minefield, Johnny. Anything stand out?
It is. I thought this was the one, again, another really, really difficult race.
This is what we want, Johnny. We don't want all these odds-on shots.
Yeah,
we want these big field handicaps, 7 to 1 the field. Thank you very much.
Yeah, look, I Carey Allen has been put away for
That is, of all the pronunciations.
What is it called, so?
I Carey Allen.
What would you call it?
How do you put up with this every week, Johnny? Bullying on
I
air.
presume it's E-Care.
Lessons I'll have to go to.
I presume it's E-Care Allen.
What?
E-Care Allen.
Well, I care. Who cares?
Not an LE at the end of it.
Whatever. Anyway, I care less about his name than the race. Your horse is coming in here, I think.
Allen.
Foxy Jacks.
Ah, you're joking.
I heard he might be running here, yeah. Yeah.
When did he qualify for this?
He did qualify.
He's qualified,
Yeah.
I think he's...
Are you joking me?
Yeah, no, I'm not joking. So, look...
Why is he not running the cross-country ground?
Apparently, they're worried about the race being on in the inside. The race is not certainly to be even go ahead. It's so soft in there.
Right.
So I think he's going to be entered. What is the Pertemps before or after?
After.
Yeah, but they're going to enter him in one anyway. So look, it's a possibility now that he's going there anyway. I know that much. Anyway, look, whether he's or isn't, look, it's a hard race. Of course it is. I don't have a huge opinion in no 3 mile handicap hurdles like they would be.
Just breaking my heart. Don't have an opinion, but just broke my heart.
I maybe Woody Mullins, McMahon's, I Carey Allen, whatever he's called.
I Carey Allen.
Like it would be a very tentative selection.
Okay. Gary, you're a course commentator in your spare time away from Racing TV studios. How would you pronounce the JP McManus owned Willie Mullins trained Pertemps Final Fancy?
I was going to go Icar Allen.
Yeah,
maybe.
I Carey Allen.
That's not what you said either.
You said Icar.
Icar, yeah, you don't know.
I Carey Allen.
You have less of a clue than me now. Go away.
Anyway, whoever's commentating,
spending too much time with you, Johnny.
Whoever's commentating on him, I think they might be calling him home in front. I think he's got a great chance. Yeah, good enough to be placed in a Galway hurdle last year. I don't know whether there's too many horses in this field you could say that about.
Yeah.
And he actually had quite a busy time of it after. He ran again later on in the week at Galway. Ran the 2-6 race. Well, fancy for that. Maybe just the Galway hurdle took its toll on him later on, but he still ran a good race. They got him qualified for this good and early in November at Aintree. It was one of those days where the hurdles were all taken out up the home straight, but he looked to get the trip okay, so that was job done. He's been put on ice since then. They've known, obviously, from then what sort of mark he's going to be on. I think all the ducks are in a row, and the fact that he's reappearing now for the Pertemps suggests this has been the plan all along. So he'd be very much top of my list. And the solid one against him is Grey Cool. Ted Walsh put her up as a horse to follow at the start of the season, and she's run really well all the way through, and I think she will do again.
Okay, so it's I Care Allen for Gary, it's I Carry Ree Allen for Johnny Dineen, and I think Grey Cool actually has a great chance for Ted Walsh and Shane O'Callaghan in the Pertemps final. Moving on to the Ryanair Chase, which is next on the list. The Ryanair Chase, and this year it is a very open Ryanair Chase, and it's very ground dependent, Gary O'Brien, because Banbridge for many people will be a big play on the Thursday if the ground is decent. What are your thoughts on Banbridge?
Oh, I think he's a really worthy favourite if the ground is okay, if Connections deem the ground fit enough to run him. But I think they've pretty much gone on record, haven't they, saying they're not going to run him unless they feel it's going to be suitable, and that's what happened last year. Took him out at the last minute. I was surprised they didn't run him now in the Ascot race, to be honest. That looked there for the taking, and the ground would have been okay. The horse he beat at Kempton ended up winning the race, Peak Dory. Hopefully the ground does come right for him, because he's good enough to win a Ryanair. I think he's a horse I underestimated initially over fences, and he's proven me wrong time and time again. So he's very much the one to beat. If the conditions aren't right for him, I actually think a horse who could have a big say in the Grand National could win the Ryanair, and I'm talking about Capadano, who last season was a bit of a write-off for him. He only got back to the track in the Red Mills Chase at Gowran. Ran a decent enough race in the Grand National, but just a couple of runs, whereas this time around he's had a clearer run at things. He's kind of progressing well. Good run at Leopardstown at Christmas, won the race at Cheltenham last time. Based on what he did that day, he would have been worth his place in the Gold Cup, but he wasn't entered for the race, so they're running him here in the Ryanair instead. Just, it would be in the back of your mind the Grand National is the big target for him this season, but that doesn't mean he can't be competitive here on the way. I think he'd have a great chance potentially, and Conflated likewise, but I just don't like his prep as much.
Okay, so you've narrowed it down to two. It is Banbridge and Capadano will be your
Banbridge and Capadano, I think, yeah.
Johnny?
Yeah, Banbridge is the one if the ground comes in his favour. Whether it will or won't, who knows. It didn't run here last year, and by the time the race was run, it wasn't horrendous bad ground. So if that was too soft, you'd nearly be suspicious that this year will be too soft for him too. Who knows, but that's a week away. So if he did run, I think he's a very good horse to Banbridge at the same time. And I know Gary said if you ran an Ascot, I have a feeling if you ran an Ascot, that race is quite close to Cheltenham. I always think that race that Fakir Dadaris run, you know, that race that Peak Dory and them. If I was backing him, I'd prefer that he didn't. That I would take my chances that he'd just go here from Kempton, whatever. Like I think, like beating Peak Dory, that's good form at the same time. There's nothing here you'd be afraid of if you're back in Banbridge on good ground anyway. If the ground is slower, it changes the whole race complexion of the race completely. Envoy Allen obviously has a chance, but he's 10 years of age at the same time. He's done a lot of battling now at this stage. I don't like Stage Star. I'm never really a fan of Stage Star either, ever. No, and I know he won
just because he's trained by Paul Nichols?
No, not necessarily. No, I just think he's a goodish horse, but I don't think he's a brilliant horse at the same time. After that, you're into the likes of Capadano, who will come into his own on softer ground. He would probably need soft ground to get it to be effective here, won't he? Like,
maybe so,
I think so, yeah.
But obviously that could take Banbridge out of the equation as well.
Exactly. It's a race that you'd have to know the ground before you have a definite opinion. And I looked down through him, and you're not going to believe this, but
if you say a high senior, I'm going home. I'm going home.
I've given it a chance, yeah.
Because I was just looking last night and I was thinking, has Everton been leading up to this?
Well, apparently it's going there and it's going to try and make all the running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to run here and it's going to try and make all. The only chance it ever has to win races is it'll do someday. It'll run out and ping every fence and maybe it'll stay there. I wouldn't fall down if it won. No, I wouldn't. No, but at the minute, I'll go Banbridge.
Okay, Banbridge. But it could be a high senior for Johnny in the Ryanair Chase. The feature race, of course, on Thursday is the Stairs Hurdle, and Tihupu is shortening up by the day. Johnny Dineen, he's getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and it looks like Irish Point is going to run in the Champion Hurdle. So does that leave the way clear for Tihupu?
Oh, it's a big horse to have out anyway. Yeah, Irish Point. If you fancy Tihupu, I mean, I think if you're on an anti-post anyway, you'd love to see Irish Point going for the Champion Hurdle. Definitely, I think Tihupu will win. I do. And I think he will be short. He'd be under 2-1 anyway, that's for sure. He's like, okay, he should have won the race last year. Admittedly, not by a lot, but he should probably have won it. He's a year older. I think this is his year. If he doesn't win it this year, he'll never win it, because it is an average race. I mean, there's a lot of horses here that have tried and tested it. And even OK Crambo's a young horse, he's coming into he's like on an upward curve, or his profile is rising. but he still only beat Paisley Park ahead. He needs to improve a lot from that. Like you couldn't fancy Paisley Park in this. You couldn't fancy Dashel Drash. There's a whole host of horses you find it very hard to fancy. I know the winner last year was Any Price You Like. He was about 11 years of age, but that surely won't happen another time. And I do think Tihupo is a solid 2 to 1 shot or less anyway. I do think he'll win.
Tihupo for Johnny in the Stairs Hurdle, Gary?
Yeah, I'd be with the favourite as well, Dave. Agree. I thought he should have won last year. There were actually a couple of horses, Gordon Elliott's last year, they changed the tactics of them compared to the previous run. Mighty Potter was the other one. I think it got the two of them beat, to be honest. When he won the Galmoy at Gower and he took it up 2 out, power clear up the straight. Just he was held on to, and it was messy, wasn't it? They were weaving all around the place, coming down the straight late on. It was one that got away, I think, but I'd fancy him to make amends this time. The race has kind of fallen apart a bit, hasn't it? The French horse that was well fancied has dropped out along the way. Irish Point looks as though he's going to go for the champion now. So the opposition mightn't be as strong as you would have thought it would be at one stage. Wouldn't rule out a good run from Old Sire de Burley. He just seems to come alive at this time of year for whatever reason. And the other one I thought had a shout at a big price was Home by the Lee. I think I read they're going to try different headgear on him. Like he just wouldn't go a yard when he at Leopardstown last time, and making a run and clearly doesn't suit him. But he should get a gallop to come off here, and the headgear could fire him up a bit. But I think it's Tihupo's race to lose.
And I think so too. So it's three votes even for Tihupo in the Stairs Hurdle. The Trusted Trader Plate is next up. And I've been spending so much time with Johnny Dineen over the last couple of weeks that I'm waking up in the middle of the night and all I can hear is Crebbly. And Aoife saying to me in the bed beside me, what the hell is Crebbly? And I said, this is Johnny Dineen's Banker of the Week. Are you sick talking about Crebbly?
No, look, he's a good chance. He's found in the market now at the same time. Do you know what I mean? These horses, they reach a bit like Key de Bourbe and other horses, they reach a price where they're no longer value at the same time. They can't get much shorter. This one, I can't see him being a whole lot shorter than these now. I think he's a great chance. I think if he gets average luck, he'll win it. I think he's fired in off 140. I mean, started that season 134, got up £6 should have beaten Ginny's Destiny and beating Timoris. I think they did well to keep his rating to 140, to be honest. And I'd say he's a good bit in hand. Saying that, I've seen these horses in these kind of races before that have a stone in hand and they get blown out of the water because it is his first open handicap chase at the same time. There are different kind of races and his jumping needs to be pinpoint on the day. You won't get away with like crawl over fences and losing lengths and two, and you get shuffled back, and no matter what you have in hand, you'll get beat then. But I do think he'll win. I do fancy him strongly. But again, he's a horse I wouldn't back each way. I do think he'll either win or blow out.
Okay. When it comes to the plate at these preview nights, do you just go for a little sleep and press a button and just go, Crebbly, repeat?
No. I mean, it's the price he is now. Do you want to back him at 4 to 1? I don't know. I wouldn't blame him at 4 to 1, but I do think he'll win. The price isn't going to stop him from winning, but the juice has gone out of his price at the same time.
Are you a Crebbly fan, Gary?
I went through the race again this morning, Dave, and he
Thanks
is
very much.
He is
You're
a standout.
taking us seriously.
There were a couple I just had to finalise my thoughts on, but he is a standout, I think. From a handicapping perspective, there are risks attached, as Johnny said there, but that's kind of offset by the fact that the handicapper hasn't had a chance to get hold of him. It's a double-sided coin, if you like. I just went down through and you're looking for something to take him on because, as Johnny said, the price has come in so much down. I couldn't find one, to be honest. So I'd either be with Crebbly or probably sit the race out. I hope he wins for Johnny.
That's nice.
I might end up backing him myself. Who knows?
Yeah, there you go. It's 2 votes for Crebbly in the Trusted Trader Plate. Now
You'll
moving
have
on.
something against him.
You have which?
You'll have something against him.
I thought he was very hard to beat.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I thought, like you said, you're kind of going, how is he on 140? Like, how even beating Timoris doesn't make him a little bit higher than 140. I thought he was well handicapped.
I'm on him at 92. I'll leave you in some of it.
Give us a cut, Johnny. Moving on to the Ryanair Novices Hurdle. And this is potentially the race of the day on Thursday. It is Brighter Days Ahead against Jade de Grugy against Dice Sardinos. And we have to put Golden Ace in there as well. But the top 3 in the market, they're unbeaten. They are special. But who is the most special of the trio, Gary O'Brien?
I struggle to pick between the top 2, to be honest. And
Top 2?
yes.
2?
I know you're a big Dice Sardinos fan.
Oh, you're ruling her out?
Look, same to you again. Would I be shocked if she won? Probably not, but I do think the other 2 might just be that little bit better.
Big mistake.
We'll see.
No, you're probably right. Go on.
Just on price grounds, I think the hype machine's gone into overdrive with Brighter Days Ahead, and it might just be making Jade de Grugy a backable price now. I don't think there's any lack of confidence in her from the Mullins camp.
No,
the
not
the
at
right
all.
people seem to fancy her.
Yeah.
But just the snowball has started rolling with Brighter Days Ahead. What's she, 6 to 4, 13 to 8 now?
Yeah.
That's too short, I think. I don't think it's as cut and dried as that. She's a brilliant prospect, Brighter Days Ahead, and I think she'll make a lovely chaser further down the line. But Jade de Grugy might just be more a horse for the here and now. So if you force me, I'd go Jade de Grugy.
Johnny, is Jade de Grugy the value now?
Look, it's as Gary said, it's Brighter Days Ahead is there are 3 hype horses: Ballyburn, Brighter Days Ahead, and what's the other one?
Factifile.
Factify. Yeah, the 3 big Irish hype horses, and you can't.
She's top of that hype list, though, is she?
Well, she's from Elliot. She is anyway. Yeah, absolutely. So it's very hard to ignore this kind of stuff. But Jade de Grugy is a really dangerous opponent. And if the English handicapper is right, the English horses will struggle, even getting the £5. He's putting Dice 13 as 132, and he's putting Golden Ace as 4th choice. So I was given a chance to until I read she's only 124 in his eyes. Like 124 is a million. Like that's miles off the mark anyway. 132 getting 5 is only 137. I mean, the way they're talking about it is ahead is a ton in hand of 137 anyway. I find it hard to oppose her. But again, she's another one that they've squeezed the price out of. She's, it's like a squeezed lemon. There's nothing left. 6 to 4.
All the pips are gone.
Yeah, I think so. Look, I'd say on good ground at 2 miles and a furlong, even being at the new old course, whatever course it is, the stiffer course, that'll be as short as she'd wanted, I'd guess.
Could Dice Sardinos not outspeed them both?
Well, listen,
she mightn't turn out to be the best, but on the day, getting £5, could she be faster than them?
The only chance she has, Dice Sardinas, in my opinion, is if she tracks Brighter Days Ahead down to about the 100-yard pole and has one whip and see what happens then, you know what I mean? Now, whether she'd be able to stay on her tail is another thing, you know what I mean? But I think she may just have a speed edge for maybe that 100 yards, but she'd have to be ridden really like that, like with balls and steel kind of stuff. And I don't know, will they do that? I don't know. They probably have a go off her earlier, I'd say.
Okay, so your selection is?
Listening to people without, it's not a form choice. I don't think it's entitled to be 64 on form or anything like that, but listening to the maybe jumping on the hype bandwagon, I'll go with Brighter Days Ahead.
Okay, Johnny is joining the hype with Brighter Days Ahead, and the concluding race on Thursday is the Kim Muir, a notable non-runner here in the shape of Firm Footings. And I know the way you're thinking is getting very short, Johnny Dineen.
Is he, what price is he now roughly?
5 yeah.
Yeah, look, I'd say he's 145, he's top weight. I'd say if it was a 2.5 mile race, you wouldn't need any money to back him. But it's a big step up, isn't it? Like for a novice, like that's never even ran a 3 mile. He's gone 3.25 miles. And I mean, it was a horse like this a few years ago, Champagne. I think he's with in the Bulge now, Champagne Platinum. He come this kind of a profile. He'd only about like 2.5 mile form. He wasn't sighted in this race at the same time. You know, you need to stay really, really well to get 3.25 miles. Like you could say he's nearly gone up a mile in trip. I'd say like and okay, Phyllis was saying he ran well against Gaelic Warrior down in Limerick and all that, and he's a good horse. I know the way you're thinking. He definitely is a good horse. He's definitely the classiest horse in the race, but he still has top weight, and he has to go 6 furlongs further. I don't know. He wouldn't be one for me anyway, to be honest. Now at the price he is, I wouldn't like to be opposing him either. Maybe laying around. I'm not saying I do that, but I don't know. I haven't really studied the race that closely. I know he's in it all right. I know he's in it, but I don't know what much else is. Is that in his Angel's Dawn?
Yeah,
that might have a chance, I suppose. Like, but I have this huge opinion in it, to be honest.
She won it last year.
I know, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
He done me last year. Actually, I was on the second.
Stumptown.
Yeah.
Hard luck. Gary, what do you like in the Kim Muir?
I would agree with a lot of what Johnny said there. I think the favourite potentially is thrown in, but there are a few risks attached if you think of getting stuck in. If he stays and he gets a good run round, he'll probably win. He didn't jump great at Leopardstown last time, but it was his handicap debut and he met a bit of traffic. The kind of horses falling in front of him and messing him around a bit. So that would just be in the back of your mind. But I do think Angel's Dawn is rock solid. Very good run in the Testes last time. Might have ended up on the worst of the ground that day. The horses, the two that beat her, I think both came down the outside, didn't they? Ain't that a shame? And Gordon Elliott's horse, can't think of it. But she stuck to the inner. She's 11 pounds higher than last year, but she's a real kind of consistent, solid mare, and I think she'll be there. I'd be very confident she'll run a race and probably be in the frame again, whereas, as Johnny said, the favourite probably got her hack up or blow out altogether. Okay, that was the Kim Muir, and that was Thursday. So, Gary O'Brien, your strongest fancy, your play of the day on Thursday is? Play of the day on Thursday, I'll go Tupo.
Tihupu.
Yeah, another new pronunciation.
Oh, Johnny is the king of Tihupu. Tihupu's pronunciation, let me tell you. Johnny, your play of the day on Thursday?
I'll go with. I think I'll go with Tihupu myself.
Tihupu?
Yeah, I think he'll win. Yeah,
And I will go with Tihupu as well. So it's a clean sweep for Tihupu in the stairs hurdle. And your lay of the day, Gary?
Just the price again, brighter days ahead.
Oh, wow. Your lay of the day is brighter days ahead?
On price
related, okay.
Yeah.
Johnny?
I'll go with something will beat Jenny's Destiny.
Yeah, and Ginny's Destiny will be mine as well. I think there's going to be something to beat Ginny's Destiny in the Turner's Novice Chase. That's Thursday. Stop the clock. It's Friday. It's Gold Cup day, and we're going to talk you through all 7 races, kicking off with the Triumph Hurdle and the big hype horse in Britain. It is Sergino, but he has done it on the track. He was brilliant on trial, say Gary O'Brien. He's odds on. It'll be interesting to see the Henderson stable form going into this race, because that will set the tone of whether this price will be odds against or odds on Sergino. Are you a fan?
A big fan of the horse. You couldn't possibly not be a fan of him, what he's done so far. But I personally think there's enough reasons to go against him at this stage anyway. If Henderson starts banging in the winners left, right and centre, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe I'll look at it a bit differently at 1:30 on the Friday. But I think there's a few things to bear in mind here. One is that Majborough, the Mullins horse who was placed at Leopardstown, I think if you look at it in the cold light of day, he's run to a higher level on his first start for Willie Mullins than Sergino did on his first start for Nicky Henderson. So if you have Majborough making the same leap from first to second run for his new yard, all of a sudden, I don't know whether I'm too happy about taking 4 to 6 about Sergino, and that's even before you think about the stable form. There were a couple of others in the Leopardstown race who I thought shaped a bit better than the form. Stormheart had a very wide trip around, travelled like a classy enough horse into it. You couldn't possibly fault the winner either, Carghese. She's got her chance as well. And further in behind, Ethical Diamond was a big eye catcher. I've heard Ruby give a mention to Bunting as well. So to me, there are enough horses in there floating around that potentially could improve up to the level that they can give Sergino a race. Majborough being the most obvious one, and I've definitely seen enough just to be a bit wary about backing the favourite at that sort of price.
Okay, so if I was to push you, your selection would be?
I'd probably go Majborough.
Majborough for Gary O'Brien. You disagree, you really like Sergino.
Well, I did really like the Sergino. I did, up to a point. Up to the when I watched that race at the trials there, I was saying, the minute you end up landed on the running, I said, that's the Triumph Hurdle over anyway, it's cert. But that's a while back, and next thing you're starting to get a few doubts. It is a good race. There is Mullins could have 5 or 6 against him, and you will have that horse. Gary Moores looks like he's going to run.
Forgot about him, Salver. Yeah, he's a good horse.
He's going to run, so he's there with some sort of a chance. The one thing I couldn't get over, Majborough, apparently they were disappointed with him in Leopardstown, that they thought he'd run a lot better. So I'd say they must have thought he was the best of those, you know. And as I didn't even bring that into consideration to think that. And it's a good point actually that Gary said about Sergino improving from one race to the second, his first race. Like if Majborough takes that step, then he's right there with him. Suddenly with the stable form and all these horses in the back of your head and Mullins with 5 or 6, surely they'll give him no. They're not going to give him the freedom of the racetrack either, are they? He's going to have to earn it when they have 6 or 7 horses in the race. It's a bit like Aidan O'Brien in the flat races. He's probably going to be shuffled wide and all that kind of stuff. There's no one of them jockeys going to give him an inch, are they? Really. And Salvatore Mundi is another horse that's coming out of nowhere, that has form tied in with some.
Do you think he'll run?
I do, and he is running, and he's fancy too.
Whoa.
So yeah, he is going to run. Yeah. So
and you know the owner.
He is, and well, I know that's the intention anyway, that he is going to run. Yeah. Now the owner wouldn't be a guy to lay down the law and like that and say you can't run because you have the favourite. No, he's running, and I'd say he's happy to have 2 bites rather than 1. So, and I'd say it is a second bite that are given some sort of a chance or 2. So, Mullins could have 4 or 5 horses here that have some sort of a chance. I thought the Sergino was an aeroplane, a real top horse. But with the stable form, and then you're slightly getting doubts, it's coming nearer to the time of the race. It's like a lot of fellas, they get colder as the time comes. I don't get colder a lot of the time, but I would in this instance. And suddenly from thinking it's an absolute certainty, I'm no longer as sure. I do fancy him, but I think I'd leave him win.
Okay, wow, you're not even going to back Sergino.
Maybe not, yeah. Probably not, yeah.
Okay. Dramatic turn of events here.
If the stable is going gabby, he'd be 9 to 4 against as well on top of that. Do you know what I mean? If your betters horses are
Gabby.
falling out of the back of the telly, he'll definitely be 9 to 4 or 5 to 2 against.
Gabby is not good.
Gammy.
Gammy.
Gammy. Gammy.
Gammy,
Yeah,
okay,
Gammy,
we
yeah.
got it, Gammy. So Sergino, Johnny was very keen on earlier on the series and Upping The Ante, but not quite so now. And Gary gives a shout out to Majbur. Maybe it's not going to be all one-way traffic for Sergino. Moving on to the 210, it is the county hurdle. It is going to be extremely tricky to solve this, Johnny Dineen. Have you found anything in the county hurdle?
Not really, no. I think this is another real
You leave it till late.
cavalry charge. Yeah, I do. King of Kingsfield's favourite.
Yeah, 140. What do you make of that, Mark?
Look, I think King of Kingsfield is a horse that is going to find winning hard, and he's going to have to be delivered in the last. I don't know. Look, to me, you need a lot of luck and running in this race anyway for starters, and it's another race where there'll be 10 across the track heading into the last hurdle. You wouldn't be able to call. You could be on a yoke, the lead going on the last hour, wouldn't be in the first 5 afterwards. Who knows? It's one of the hardest races in the meeting. I don't have a strong opinion in it, to be honest. I don't. There's no point in I do and I don't.
I know one man that does have a very strong opinion in the county hurdle is Gary O'Brien. I've actually no idea. I just chanced that you would.
I'm afraid not. No.
Built you up, Gary,
do
and
that
you let me
again?
down. No, that's fine. That's fine. We'll keep in. There's no edits in this show whatsoever.
Good to hear. I'd probably go with Absurd, to be honest, Dave. King of Kingsfield's a real buzz horse at the moment, and he's the type of horse that should run well in a county hurdle. Absurd was behind him in the Grade 1 novice at Leopardstown last time, but I thought that was a big step in the right direction for Absurd. He was pulled up on his first run back over hurdles after running in the Melbourne Cup, and obviously he's an Ebor winner as well. You'd like to think he'd be up to win the handicap off a mark of 138. I think he won the Ebor off 104, something like that. He's a potentially very, very well handicapped horse, and I think the run at Leopardstown might have been a real stepping stone for him to the county hurdle. So he's the one I'd probably go with, but it wouldn't be particularly bullish.
And we should give a shout out to Paul Townend's Friday record on the new course at Cheltenham. It's phenomenal. If you're just back in Paul Townend religiously in the last decade on the Friday, Johnny, you wouldn't even have to work. You wouldn't have to show up here. He's got a terrific record on the Friday. Paul Townend, the likes of Wicklow Brave, won from over the years, even when he was second jockey to Ruby Walsh. That was the county hurdle. Now we're going to have a look at the Albert Bartlett, which is extremely open this year, Gary. You got Reed and Tommy Wrong, Dancing City towards the top of the market. Is it as open as the betting suggests?
I would say it probably is. I'm going to highlight a couple of horses who are near the top of the market, but at the same time, if a 25 to 1 shot won it, I wouldn't be particularly surprised. The two, first of all, Gidley Park, who I think might end up coming here if Ballyburn does go. The Gallagher, is it the new title of that race? We'll see, but I think this race might suit him better anyway. He did well to get himself out of a hole to win at Cheltenham last time. I thought the Nicky Henderson horse kind of blindsided him a little bit when he made the move, and he's actually nicely on top again at the finish. I think he'll get the longer trip, no problem, and the new course I think will really play to his strengths. And the other one is Reed and Tommy Wrong. I think of the market leaders, he's probably the one who has achieved most with the win at Naas, albeit it was over 2.5. I think he will get the longer trip okay.
And Johnny, I know Gidley Park is a horse that you've been with all season. Are you going to be with him here?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be so shocked if they got a strange result in the race. That it is the one race of the novice hurdles that's harder to decipher than the others. Anyway, definitely, it is more of a bookie's race than the others. That's no question about that. So 3 miles, horses go up 3 miles, getting maybe nicer ground, end-to-end gallop. You could see horses improve tenfold. Gidley Park, looks like now they have made definitely the right call by jumping in here. They were going in here anyway, I'd say, regardless of where Ballyburn was going. If he gets the trip, and he probably should, he's a great chance. I kind of half felt all year, if there is an English novice worth the sausage, this is him, you know what I mean? And like that can compete with the Irish ones at the very least anyway, and I'd nearly stick to that. I won't be surprised if he's beaten at the same time. Reed and Tommy Wrong's form, we'll get a look at that from Eel Atlantique. That'll have a big reflection or bearing on what price he's going to be. But this is a wide open race, 8 or 10 horses. I'd struggle to back High Class Hero though. I have a feeling that won't be up to this myself. I have a feeling that horses in this race would be able to beat that. That's kind of it's like half summer form basically.
It looks like a decent renewal of the
Absolutely.
There's classy horse
Absolutely.
Reed and Tommy Wrong is a proper Grade 1 winner, unbeaten.
I think you have the likes of
like Gidley Park. is unbeaten, and you very seldom get horses unbeaten coming into the Albert
Yeah,
Bartlett.
I think you'll need a kind of a Bob's Worth or something like that. That kind of a horse to win this year. I don't think a really ordinary horse will win it any year. I'd go with Gidley Park, but it is a hard race.
Okay, it's a hard race, the Albert Bartlett. Moving on to the 3:30 on Friday. It's the big one of the week. It's the highlight of the jump season. Is the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup, and Galloping the Champs is favoured, of course, to go back to back, just like Alboom Photo did, and just like Best Mate did. But one man who doesn't think he'll win, who is taking him on, who's going to lay him, and he's going to tell you now why he can't win, is Johnny Dineen.
Well, I wouldn't say he can't win. If he does run, if he does run the way he ran at Christmas, he will win. But I just think there is enough of opposition. There's 3 or 4 horses I think could beat him, and there's 4 or 5 other horses that will be making life difficult for him. He's unlikely to get the easy track position that he got in his last 2 races. He's more likely, to me, to maybe be in the same position as he was last year, maybe in the race. Well, it's not necessarily ran like that, but okay, Townley will be looking to avoid that. But there will be a lot of horses here up in the van and looking to have a good position early, and that may drive him back into the field a bit more than other races. I mean, he did get to run in a race in Leopardstown both days. There's only one horse in front of him that, like, Conflated was in front of him one day, and he was in front, and with Jerry Colomb. And the last
But he didn't get the run of the race in this race last year,
No,
and he still won by 7 lengths.
He did, but he jumped the last alongside Brave Man's Game. Like Hewick, I just feel that this is a better race than that. I do think Fast or Slow has a chance, even though he's not a guaranteed stayer. I do think Jerry Colomb has a chance, even though he's well beaten 23 lengths. I definitely wouldn't rule out Shishkin. I definitely think he would win the King George. He must have some sort of a chance anyway. Plus, you have other ones like that. You wouldn't fall down if they won. I think there's enough of opposition. And there's a few little things I think that again. First of all, he's quite weak in the exchanges for some reason anyway. I just always take notice of those things. He was under 6-5. Last time I looked, he was heading for 13-8. That's a pretty seismic drift on an exchange in a Gold Cup at the same time. Somebody somewhere doesn't fancy him anyway, for some reason. Everybody said, oh, he's working well, he's doing this, he's doing...
Is it you?
It's not me, no, it's not me. No, it's definitely not me. But somebody somewhere doesn't fancy him anyway. And there is other things against him. Last year he came in as... It was his first year out of novice company. That's a big help in the Gold Cup, I think. This year, Jerry Colomb has that profile. He's gone another year ahead again. Not many horses put him back to back. The ground could be good by Friday. That would be another little concern. I just think all in all, like you put him and you put the others 12 or whatever or 13.
You'd prefer the others?
I'll go for the group anyway. Yeah.
You're going for the group, okay.
Yeah.
And as a selection, you're with Fast or Slow?
I'd go with him, yeah. But I do think if even at his best, Galloping the Champ won't beat Fast or Slow by much anyway.
Okay, interesting. Gary, are you of the same opinion?
Not dissimilar. First things first, I'd agree with what Johnny said. A lot of people have made the point. I think the run at Christmas in the Savills Chase, if he does reproduce that, it's impossible to see him get beat.
Best performance you've ever seen at Leopardstown?
It's right up there. Probably is the best. Yeah, yeah. It was breathtaking. The other thing, though, is in terms of his merits vis-a-vis Fast or Slow, I would just totally throw out the race, the Irish Gold Cup last time. Fast or Slow just allowed him to boss that race all the way around. Fast or Slow was out jumping him at a lot of fences, kept being reined back, giving up his advantage. Everything about that run suggested to me the day for Fast or Slow is Cheltenham, not Leopardstown that day. I'm not saying Galloping the Champ isn't being trained for Cheltenham, obviously he is, but I don't think that form is worth a whole lot.
Sausage?
Sausage, exactly. Couldn't have put it better myself. Yeah, I would disregard that run, and if you do that, because Fast or Slow has beaten him before, that just does come into the back of your mind. As I say, I don't think Fast or Slow will beat him if he runs to the level of Christmas, but if he's a tiny bit below that, Fast or Slow is going to be a sharper horse than he was at Leopardstown last time. Martin Brazel, great target trainer. I think we could have a real race on at the very least. They're the two standout horses. Shishkin's the only other one I give a chance to. I'm sure who knows whether he'll even jump off, whether he'll play ball at the start. Hopefully he does, because any race that has him in it is a whole lot more interesting. But I'd be gobsmacked if one of those three didn't win.
Okay, so there you go. Two of the best judges in Irish racing, Gary O'Brien and Johnny Dineen. If not the best, probably the best two judges in Irish racing. They are both kind of lukewarm on the chances of Galloping the Champs, and I know most viewers will be watching thinking he is potentially the banker of the week. So there it is. That is the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup. Moving on to the Hunter's Chase. It's obviously not one of the feature races of the week, but JP McManus does want a winner at the Cheltenham Festival. He's probably going to get more than one, and he has added to his team earlier on this week with It's On The Line, Gary O'Brien. Will it be another JP winner?
You're a brave man saying he'll probably get more than one. I'd say if all the cards go right, he could threaten
5?
double figures.
Oh, really?
Look at the amount of fancied horses he has this year. It's
incredible, yeah.
As good a team of horses, I'd say, any owner has gone to Cheltenham I can remember anyway.
Should get the one, so yeah.
You should it's great.
If you're watching JP, you should get the one.
and
he does watch.
I think It's On The Line might win this as well.
Do you?
Just think Ferns Lock is probably a classier horse, but if it does come down into a real slog, it's on the line.
Everybody is saying this about Ferns Lock. Every single person I talk to says, Ferns Lock, he's the best jumper, he's the best horse, he's the best traveller, but he won't win. Like, are we not being really harsh on
Well, I'm not
Ferns
saying
Lock?
he won't win, of course
No,
he
I'm
can
not
win.
saying you, but I'm saying in general, that's the vibe that Johnny is going to give us now in a minute. Yeah.
No, I definitely wouldn't say he won't win. I think one of the two of them probably will win.
Okay.
And I know David Christie, I was actually talking to him at Thurles the other day, he's very, very confident that Ferns Lock will be okay over the distance.
And Dennis O'Regan has been riding him out, and he's very happy with how he's progressing.
Yeah, he's a hell of a good horse, real top hunter chaser.
Why will he not win then?
I just have this fear that race, particularly if the ground is testing, will put more of an accent on stamina than maybe ideal for him, and that plays into It's On The Line's hands. That was an extraordinary race at Naas last time. But the fact that he was able to pick up again when it looked as though Billaway had him, that suggested there was a little bit left. And for him to do that after the grueler he had all the way up the straight with Ramillies first of all, and then Billaway closing him down.
He is a proper monkey by all accounts.
Yeah,
for everybody attached to the horse, yeah.
So look, maybe that little bit that he held in reserve that day, he could perhaps be keeping it back for the big day.
Okay, It's On The Line for Gary O'Brien. Johnny, I know you're very much It's On The Line. You added him to your Cheltenham Festival team on Upping The Ante earlier on this week.
Yeah, I'd say he'd be at 3-1, them kind of prices, 5-2, 11-4. He'd be my nap of the whole meeting now, to be honest. It's On The Line.
Oh, be the Lord.
Like there isn't many 3-1 chances that you like. There's loads of skinny ones that you could pick out, and they're obvious favourites. But there isn't that.
Okay,
many.
convince me why he is going to be Ferns Lock.
Well, first of all, I think it's probably they're the two best horses in the race. Even though it's not a brilliant Fox Hunter or anything like it, he's relatively young. The cheek pieces going on is going to be a big help to him, and I do think Ferns Lock, lovely jumper, does everything beautifully. This other guy could be rolling the head off from like 5 and 6 out, but he'll stay going and really stay going. And I can see Ferns Lock maybe having him well off the bridle, turning in and looking a likely winner. But if the other guy gets a hold of him, it is all over. It's over. Like he will, once he gets near him, that'll be good night and God bless, in my opinion anyway.
Okay.
And I have a feeling he will get him. He will grab him at some stage. Like Ferns Lock is a lovely horse when he's everything going his own way, but he's lost a finish to It's On The Line already in Down Royal, and he did get beat at 4-11 by Animix. Like Animix is an absolute creature, isn't it? Isn't it though?
I was fearing a really bad curse there. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not a curser as such, but not really.
You have
no.
other words that you can
put
in instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Creatures.
Yeah. They get the message across. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. Look, I just think that It's On The Line. He's a young. I know, like you could go back 18 months where that Ferns Lock beat It's On The Line, but It's On The Line was only 5 that time. You know what I mean? And I do think that there is more in It's On The Line, and the cheek pieces can get it out of him. And it's first time cheek pieces. The new colours probably won't do him any harm really. If Derek O'Connor, I think there's a lot to like now myself. And it won't be pretty, I don't think. It won't be pretty, but I fancy it'll go to 12 rounds and it'll be only one winner.
Okay. So it's a points verdict for Johnny Dineen with It's On The Line in the Hunter's Chase, and Gary is in agreement. I'm in the minority. I think Ferns Lock is the best horse in the race, and I think he'll win, and I'm hoping he will stay. Moving on to the Mare's Chase. It is the second last race. It's the 27th of 28 races at the Cheltenham Festival, and it is Dino Blue against Allegory Devassi, and the two big hopes from the Gavin Cromwell stable in Bride's Hill and Limerick Lace as well, Johnny Dineen. Obviously another skinny favourite here from the Mullins camp in those JP McManus colours. Where are we ranking Dino Blue in the scale of banker material?
I have something on her Eddie post, but I'm not mad about her now at all.
Oh.
No, I'm not. I think she's very, very short. If I haven't the whole pile on her either, but if I wasn't on her, there's no way in the world would I back her now anyway. I think she has a good chance, but that's all. I think people are reading a lot into her Grade 1 form. which is like if you take El Fabiolo out of that race and like what the race at Christmas, Captain Guinness, they're not in them races. You know what I mean? There isn't anything in them races. I don't think she's even achieving that much, like finishing second to El Fabiolo and that race at Leopardstown at Christmas. Like I said, the ones that she actually finished in front are very ordinary, I think. And she has to get the trip. Like if the ground comes up soft, Limerick Lace is definitely a contender. Allegory de Vassis looks to be something that she's had a wind up. She's probably a more potent threat than I had thought originally in the year. Look, I'd still hoping Dinah Blue will win. If you force me, I think she probably will win, but she's far from a certainty.
Big decision for Keith Donoghue here, Gary. He has to pick between Limerick Lace and Bride's Hill.
Oh, he's in the mix for Limerick Lace, is he?
Yeah, I think so. Well, Mark will obviously ride Dino Blue, so it's going to be interesting here. And imagine the softer the ground, the better for Limerick Lace. The better the ground, the better chance for Bride's Hill, who apparently is one of the best workhorses Gavin has.
I'd be pretty similar to Johnny in terms of how I view this one. I think Dino Blue's the best horse in the race, classy mare, just a slight doubt about the distance. And of the hot pots, she's not one I'd be thrown into any multiples anyway, put it that way. Obviously, by the time we get to this stage, we'll have a better idea about conditions. And the more testing it is, the less confident I would be. And I think Limerick Lace is obviously bringing different form lines into it. She's been campaigning over in Britain. Bride's Hill has run over there as well. The fact that they've been able to beat the British mares doesn't suggest that the home team are probably going to be much of a factor in this. So, look, it looks nailed on for an Irish winner, but I just tread carefully with Dino Blue myself. She's best horse in the race, but I wouldn't be backing her myself. Okay,
there we go. That's the Mare's Chase. And the 28th and final race of the Cheltenham Festival, it is the Martin Pipe for conditional riders. And the big buzz horse, Gary O'Brien, in the last couple of days has been Key the Bourbon, who I know Ruby Walsh was on one of the 24,000 previews you were on.
Yeah.
And his banker of the meeting was Key the Bourbon?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, Key the Bourbon.
Key the Bourbon.
Yeah.
Do you like Key the Bourbon?
Look, a hard horse to knock. He's very unexposed. The Mullins camp have won it with similar horses before. Sir Deschamps, I suppose, would be one. Same colours, similar sort of profile. I'd be inclined to look elsewhere. I think Answer to Cave is a very solid horse. Terence O'Brien. Presume this is where he's going to run. It'd be a no-brainer, really. The lad that's been riding him all along, John Shinnick, can use his claim in this race, and he's built up a good rapport with the horse. And further down the list, a horse that actually beat him at Fairyhouse earlier on the season, Waterford Whispers. If he gets in, I think he's a very, very well handicapped horse. Should have won, I thought, at Leopardstown last time. Got beaten by not a bad sort, actually, himself, a horse of Pat Fahey's that day, but I thought he was the best horse in the race, and I think he's capable of an awful lot better than he's shown so far. Okay, excellent. And Johnny, what do you like in the Martin Pipe?
I agree with that. It was like a fella in school looking at his notes.
Yeah. I'll tell you something, you could copy worse fellas than Gary O'Brien,
I know
let me tell you.
Yeah.
You're not looking this way anyway. You're not looking over my notes.
Excuse me. I think Key the Bourbon is very short. I mean, I backed him in Clonmel. I know he's probably a way better horse than that, but like coming down to the last, you think Westport team was going to do him with that Westport Cove.
You're behind the couch.
Yeah, like if he's gone from 8 to 1 to 4 to 1 because somebody opened them out of the Cheltenham preview, as far as I can see. I can see him going back out to, although he's going to have Michael O'Sullivan now at the same time, so that's going to be a big help in these races. I agree with Gary. I think the big line of form here is that race in Fairyhouse, where Waterford Whispers beat Answer the Cave. I backed Waterford Whispers already, no bet for a few quid the other day. I'd say there's a good chance he won't get in. I have a feeling he won't, will he?
It's about 52, I think.
Yeah, he's a long way down anyway, and he's on one. But no, there could be a horse obviously in other races. Yeah. Maybe we'll get in. I do think he's well handicapped, or really well handicapped horse. And I think Answer the Cave is a good horse as well. And I agree with what Gary said about the young lad riding him all year. That has to be a help that he's being associated with this horse, rode him in races, graded races and everything down Limerick, where he'd no claim and all that. They've stuck with him. So obviously, if they've stuck with him all year, this had to be some kind of a plan. I would have thought now. He did well to win in Naas. Won easy too the last day. Beat Blizzard of Oz and Captain could down all them horses again. I think he's a smart horse too. If Waterford Whispers did get in, I think he's a great chance. And if he doesn't get in, I'll go with Answer the Cave. Excellent. That is all 28 races. So it's Friday time, Gary. Your best bet on Friday, your play of the day? Best bet on Friday, I'll probably say Gidley Park in the Albert Bartlett. And for you, Johnny? Well, I'm going to oppose Galloping Deschamps anyway. That's you're going with the lay first, are you? Give Gary the other one there. I'll try and think of the one I'm going to back. Okay. Yeah. Johnny's taking on. We're changing tactics here, so we are. Yeah, we're bringing in the averted fullback. Johnny's against Galloping Deschamps. Your lay of the day? Like, it's probably the day where I'd have
the least strong opinions over the piece, so maybe just throw that in there. Gidley Park could be top of the list in terms of a bet, but I think at the price I'd lay Sergino. Take a chance.
Okay, taking on Sergino. And for you, your bet on Friday?
I get joking. I'll be taken away because my mind is gone.
Well, you said a few moments ago that it's on the line
Yeah,
with your bet in the meeting. So he could be your best bet
I'm
on
telling you,
Friday.
I'll be taking away by the arms and legs soon. I don't know what I'm doing, but anyway, my nap of the day and meeting is it's on the line.
Biggest time to say stop. The fun stop, Johnny. It's the fun stop. And my play of the day, I'm taking on Johnny. We're going head to head here because I'm with Fernslock in the Hunter's Chase. I think Fernslock can take out the Hunter's Chase, and at the prices, I'm a bit like you guys. I think Key the Bourbon has gone very short in the market. So we're nearly there. Have we done it within the hour? I don't think so, but sure, you knew that wasn't going to happen anyway. Gary, best bet of the meeting for Gary O'Brien. If our Upping The Ante viewers, some of them only tune in once a year. They don't even want to see me and Johnny. They want to see Gary O'Brien. They watch for your contributions, so this is a big moment, Gary. What is Gary O'Brien's best bet of the meeting?
I'll mention a couple of horses. At bigger prices, I think Mascada and Icaralen are two very interesting ones at bigger price in the handicaps. But I think, the solid horse in the conditions race, I think Corbett's Cross.
Corbett's Cross for Gary O'Brien in the National Hunt Chase. Johnny Dineen, your best bet of the Cheltenham Festival.
I don't do bigger prices, but I'll go with Pateru as a bigger price. That's as big as it gets for me now.
Yeah.
12
That's
to 1
huge,
price.
Johnny.
That's massive, yeah. And two horses. I think Tihupo will win.
Yeah.
In around 2 to 1 or a little less. And I do think it's on the line is a good thing. I do.
Okay.
I'd really fancy that very strong. And it's in around 5 to 2. 11 to 4, I think that's a fair price.
Okay, and I'm actually with Gary. My strongest fancy the whole meeting is Corbett's Cross in the National Hunt Chase. I think he's different class to those. And at a bigger price, I'm very much in the Am I Right camp in the Ultima, hoping the ground will dry out a little bit over the next couple of days. And the lay of the meeting, Gary O'Brien, the one horse that won't be winning at the 2024 Cheltenham Festival.
Sure, why not? We'll go Sergino.
Sergino, we know yours.
I'll go Gallopin the Champion.
Okay, and I will go Embassy Gardens in the National Hunt Chase. There you go, that's it. I did my best. I tried to get it within the hour, but the information was so good, I couldn't stop the mid-flow. My thanks to Gary O'Brien, who does join us every year, once a year. It's tradition at this stage. Thanks very much, Gary. We continue to enjoy all your contributions on Racing TV. You'll be on every morning?
Tuesday to Thursday in the morning shift for Racing TV, yeah.
Excellent. Johnny, looking forward to Cheltenham?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Sure, if you wouldn't be looking forward to Cheltenham, you had no interest in racing, would you really?
Tired?
No, not too bad now. I'm on some old tablets, Revive or something. I got him in the chemist.
He's getting dope tested.
Yeah. Oh, no, there's no way I'll pass a test at the moment. Not a hope.
Well, listen, the very best of luck at Cheltenham. And we'll be back with you on Sunday for the final Upping The Ante before the Cheltenham Festival. It's transfer deadline day where myself and Johnny can get rid of one of our selections and bring in another one. But thanks for watching our very special Cheltenham Festival preview here on Upping The Ante in association with Bet365. He's been Gary O'Brien. He's been Johnny Dineen. I've been David Jennings. Thanks for watching.